Oh, hello everybody once again here, and of course, yes, we are live and in living colour here, and of course, welcome along to the channel here. And of course, yeah, I thought I'd do a little bit of an update here. Of course, the outreach, or of course, open reach, I think it's called, who apparently told me that the old copper wire is no longer going to be a wire that is going to be used for the internet. So a fiber optic kind of wire may well be introduced. But yeah, having said that, of course they have disappeared from our very eyes since the last update that we just done. And I thought I'd come on here and do a bit of course, updating here and catching up with some of you people as well. For those who actually haven't seen our channel for a long while, and of course, this is probably the only way that I can actually broadcast on YouTube with a clear voice. But I will try it with my other microphone at some point. I will look forward to that immensely. So hopefully we'll be able to get something sorted in terms of that. Right, okay, let's talk about something live for a minute here, and I might be here a little bit later on, so people can actually join me a little bit later on tonight. Here, I thought I'd do this on a laptop version. I can't even go direct on to YouTube without, of course, coming on here to do it through OBS Studio, which is kind of like weird, so I can't really do a direct live on my YouTube account. But of course, yeah, I've got a phone call to attend to very, very shortly. But I'll just quickly say that I'll be talking about the Gainsborough control here. So yeah. The Gainsborough Trail then is the meadow walk based in the area of Sudbury. So of course we've talked about stage one. If you're thinking about, of course, having the Gainsborough walk, then of course this may be of use to you lot out there. So there we are. Right, okay, so for those people interested in basically the Gainsborough walk here in the area of Sudbury, then this may be of use to you. Stage one of the meadow walk, starting from the southeast corner of the Kingfisher Leisure Centre car park, follow the old railway track, formerly a section of the Stour Valley line from Sudbury to Cambridge. Look out for the Quay Basin on your right, and then now the home of the Quay Theatre and the Sudbury Rowing Club. As you pass over the railway bridge from where locally made bricks were transported down to the river, then on by sea to London. So that's stage one, the meadow walk. And stage two, just after crossing another old railway bridge over the busy Ballingdon Street, turn right to take the ramp down to the red brick pumping station. Below you, look out for the high flood watermarks on the wall. Passing through the gate, bear right across the meadows to the footbridge. Okay, and after crossing, go directly head towards the Mill Hotel and the Mill Pool. Watch out for the kingfishers. Turn left at the mill, walk along by the mill stream, and then follow the path to the floodgates and beyond it to the croft. And stage 3. From the croft junction, continue along the path until very shortly you'll reach the old bathing pool, or the bathing pool, where you cross the bridge to your right and follow the riverside. Continuing along the river, or by the river, by passing the Salmon Leap Weir and a World War II pillbox on the opposite bank. Watch out for harmless grass snakes and water voles. When you reach a fence, bear right until you meet a route iron bridge across the stream, and then bear left diagonally 106 o'clock, something like that, across the meadows until you arrive at Brandon Mill on the far side. Which I can't read that other bit there. Turn left here and walk to Brandon Mill with its numerous swans. Over the bridge and just past the mill, turn sharp right, and then as the road bears left, go straight ahead into the conservation area. Follow the path, I would have thought, next to the information board. And then now it's stage 4, okay, for anyone interested. Stage 4, turn left where the meadow walk once again reconnects with the Valley Trail, the old railway track, and another longer walk to Melford Country Park, heading down towards a cutting with steep sides. Look out for fenced area, or a fenced area to your left, which is managed to protect the nationally rare flower, the Deptford pink, and further along the Tway Blade orchards on the right hand side as you pass beneath 2 very fine Victorian brick built bridges. As the path moves up to the higher ground, you will be treated to views of Water Meadows and the town beyond your left, and the AFC ground, the home of Sudbury's Football Club, on your right. Continue along the track, passing by a ramp to the pumping station on your left, and on past Friars Meadow, suitable for picnics, on the right, until you return to the car park where your walk began. Very, very interesting, to say the least there. And Thomas Gainsborough, of course, was born in 1727 and passed away in 1788. This trial is named after Thomas Gainsborough, the portrait and landscape artist who was born and educated in Sudbury, and would have walked, sketched, and sometimes painted such of the natural landscape you will see on your journey. And there is a map just here, if you can actually see it on your screen here, and it shows you here Thomas Gainsborough there, and that's the bit of information that I was reading there. And there's actually a key map as well, which you can actually see. The key map is just there, by the way, this little bit here. Follow the Kingfisher Waymakers. Meadow walk, circular, 3.5 miles, that's 5 kilometres in total. The walk is accessible for suitable wheelchairs and push chairs, depending on the weather conditions. So it's basically suitable for wheelchair access and push chairs depending on weather conditions. The cattle are used to walkers, but please leave them in peace and keep your dogs under control. Okay, please close the gates behind you, and they recommend wearing good walking footwear or wellies, especially if there has been heavy rainfall or downpours. So here's a little bit of information about the Gainsborough Trail itself. It says, welcome to the Meadow Walk, the first section of the Gainsborough Trail, named after famous painter Thomas Gainsborough, which is over the Leith. An approximately 12.4 mile continuous walkable route will eventually encompass the whole of the Sudbury area, giving access to the best of the countryside in Sudbury, Great Cornard, Chiltern and beyond. The Meadow Walk is about 5 kilometres, that's 3.5 miles, and features Sudbury's ancient water meadows, which have or having never been ploughed to grow arable crops or treated with chemical fertilizers, are a rich source of biodiversity for the wide variety of wildflowers, insects, birds and mammals. The meadows are carefully managed by the Sudbury Common Lands, a charity who continue the old tradition of summer cattle grazing. Along the route, you will also discover remnants of Sudbury's industrial heritage and stunning views that vary throughout the whole seasons. And Sudbury and the Star Valley. Yep, the Star Valley we're talking about, which is the name of the river. The Meadow Walk itself provides a great introduction to the history of Sudbury and the Star Valley itself. For 200 years, bricks made from local clays were transported down the river by lighters, barges to London. Much of your route is along the old railway track that used to run from Sudbury to Cambridge. Wow, interesting. And of course, the Tourist Information Centre can be found at the Sudbury Tourist Information Centre on Market Hill, which actually can provide further information about where to stay, each shop and other places of interest to visit in the town and the local area. The Gainsborough Trail is complemented by the Talbot Trail, a town centre walk through Sudbury's history, and the Gainsborough House Museum and Art Gallery. And Sudbury Tourist Information Centre 01787 881320. That's 01787 881320. And that's Sudbury TIC, Tourist Information Centre, at sudburytowncouncil.co.uk. And sudburysuffolk.co.uk is the actual website. So, yeah, interesting indeed. Of course, the directions to this area is Sudbury Suffolk lies on the River Stour near the Essex border, 60 miles north-east of London. It is approached on the south of the A131 running through Braintree and Halstead, and from the east and north by the A134, which runs from Colchester to Bury St Edmunds. Now we go on to where to park. Meadow Walk can be accessed from a number of points, but the main entrance from the car park at Kingfisher Leisure Centre, an adjustment to Waitrose Supermarket just off the Great Eastern Road / Station Road junction. Follow signs to Kingfisher Leisure Centre. At the time of publication, parking is free for the first 3 hours if a ticket is displayed, but please check the display boards for the latest charges and information in case there is a sort of price change. Arriving by public transport, the main Meadow Walk entrance is just across the road from both the railway station and the bus station. Follow signs to Kingfisher Leisure Centre then head for the far southeast corner of the car park. By train, Sudbury is at least an hour and 20 minutes from Liverpool Street Station, changing at Marks Tey, and accessible from all stations on the London to Norwich East Coast routes. By bus, regular services to Sudbury from Bury and Colchester, Househead, Haverhill and Ipswich. For further information on Sudbury, go to, of course, wikipedia.org/wiki/Sudbury, Suffolk. Okay, of course, that summarises that, and I hope everyone has been enjoying the show like no other. Some people have been watching in, which has been brilliant here. We do, I do apologise if, of course, we're not able to do the mobile version, but we can do it on our Samsung if, of course, that is a better way of communicating to you guys. I think it depends on the phone, really. But anyway, now it's time to read the word for blessing is progressive. Now, if you don't know what word for today is basically, just taking segments out of the what they call the famous book that, of course, some people understand and some people don't. It's a big sort of book. Believe it or you don't believe it, but some of the words here may be quite useful for any future aspects. Blessing is progressive. Gather all Israel to me on Mount Carmel. The greatest chapter in the story of Elijah's life took place on Mount Carmel. That's when he called down fire from heaven, defeated the prophets of Baal, and turned the hearts of the Israelis back to God. The word camel means fruitful ground, but before Elijah could get to Mount Carmel, he had to go through two places. First, God led him to the brook called Cherith. The word Cherith means to make covenant with. It is here that Elijah discovered that God is a covenant-making and covenant-keeping God who can sustain you through the hardest of times. It was here during the drought and famine that ravens brought food to him each day, and he drank from the refreshing waters of the brook. But the Bible says after a while the brook dried up. Now when God allows your brook to dry up, it's in order to drive you back to your true source, which is himself, that you may get further instructions. Second, God led him to a widow of Zarephath. The word Zarephath means to refine, as in a melting point. Gold is not pure in its original form. It must be refined, and this is accomplished by heating it to the boiling point. The heat separates the raw substance from its impurities, which surface and are skimmed off. And God would do the same for you by using the heat of trials to separate the gold from the dross in your life. He knows the experiences you need to reach Mount Carmel, the place of fruitfulness, so trust in him, or trust him. He knows what he's doing. So that, my all-weather friend, is just about it for the word for today for now. But I hope everyone's enjoyed this like no other here. We've got somebody actually watching in here. I don't know who's watching in right now, but of course, it's just nice to have someone watching him from time to time. Yeah, so anyway, there you go. I would like to say a huge thank you very much for watching here. And if you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, which you can do after the stream's gone up here. So, yeah, I'm just going to refresh the room here a little bit, make it smell nice a little bit. But, yeah, thankfully, of course, we've got our 4G, which does enable us to actually do some kind of live. Whether it's through OBS Studio, I don't know, but of course, it's just nice to be able to do something of similar kind here. I'm using my Trust camera, or it's not actually a Trust camera, it's actually an HD type of camera, HD 72p kind of camera there. So it's quite a nice little camera. It does the job. Okay. So that's the latest so far, of course, in terms of my update. Although I had OpenReach come to me earlier to try and tell me that the copper wire has been changed to a fibre optic. But the problem is with that, they have disappeared now, and they haven't told us when they'll be back. Apparently the guy was from Stowmarket, so obviously they must have had a look, and then maybe they'll come back another day to fix it. I don't know what's happening, but we're not told anything these days. But there you go, and that's the latest so far. And they're saying that the landline will be eventually going on to straight the internet. So they're phasing out the landline because they're getting rid of the old copper wire, and that'll be no use anymore whatsoever. That'll be all in the past, you know, because the copper wire is obviously no good anymore. I wonder what the copper wire actually looks like. Just copper, really, I would have thought. But yeah, I would have thought it's just the colour of copper. It's very scientific, all this, by the way. It blows my mind sometimes, going back into the science days. But yeah, it's grey and gloomy here in Suffolk, in the east of England. I do hope you have enjoyed this video here. Like I say, you can comment down below if you want to. The choice is absolutely up to you. Okay, thank you for taking your time to watch this live and watch this video here, even if you're watching live. We really do appreciate that. So yeah, it's great that we've got people watching at this very time here. Really appreciate that. So what can I say? But of course, that's sort of summarizes it up. I thought I'd try this latest update a little bit more often, and yeah, I might have to come on here a little bit later on just for a laugh. I got up really early today, which is yeah, something that I didn't expect to have to do. But of course, I was actually woken up because somebody was worried about their 4G data running low. But luckily we've still got to 2 bars on the 4G here, which is enough to run the internet and enough to do a broadcast like this. Alright, okay, I'm going to fade out now, which is exactly what I'm going to do now, with a fade out to black here, and I could actually do a longer one. So we're going to say TTFN for now, and remember where you saw us, and we'll be back before you can say the words, or just the word, are you back already? Huge smiles there, raising up there. And what I would say is, we'll carry on fighting for you as we try and say. Till next time, take care. Peace out.